Oh, my goodness, look at me. I'm in double. Yes. Oh, you gotta love it when you do live. I do love going live. I wish I could go live every day, but that's not exactly how it goes. Let me fix this situation where I've got two different cameras, mind you, but two cameras showing here. And oh, I'm not even sure why I have two cameras showing here. Well, we can always do something. Oh, here we go. There, yay, got the right camera up and everything. Okay, so we're going to go live in just a minute, and we're talking about CVOR safety ratings. I've got to make sure I look at the right camera, by the way. See, so there, I've got actually three cameras. This one here, which is okay. This one here, which is, if you compare that to this one's better for sure. And then if you look at this one, I think this one's even better. And what this is, this one here is the laptop camera. This here is my webcam, my Logitech, which is a pretty good camera. And then lastly, of course, we have my cell phone, which is an Apple 11, I think. It's a couple of years old. So it's got a darn good camera. So if you ever wanted to do this and go live yourself, you've got really good camera stuff. So welcome to the Secrets of Safety, Dawg. This is Monday, May the 30th. My goodness, May's almost over, and I'm so excited. Tomorrow I get to go golfing. There is the private motor carrier motor carrier has their the golf tournament tomorrow morning. It's a shotgun start at like 8:30. So I'm really looking forward to that. Seeing people again in the trucking industry. Yes. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Secondly, just to tell you kind of a personal story, do I look baggy-eyed today? Are my eyes down to here? I was up early this morning. I had a driver meeting to do over in Scarborough, at McCowan, north of the 401. It was Passmore, up on Passmore Avenue this morning. I had to be there, had to be ready for 7 a.m. driver meeting. Well, for those of you who know me, you know I live in Hamilton. And in Hamilton this weekend, the link was closed for maintenance, and it wasn't going to be open this morning, and it wasn't. So I had to take into account a little extra driving time, plus over an hour drive to get there, get set up this morning. So I did get there just before 6:30. It allowed me enough time to get set up in the morning for the drivers, and then we started our meeting at 7 and finished at 8, and it was a good thing. All right, so the secrets of safety, Dawg. Today we are talking about, and say hi, the people. Oops, I've got an audience today. Whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. I've got an audience today, so say hi if I can find my, oh, you gotta love, hey, if you don't love this going crazy stuff, I don't think I have my chat function up. Oh, I do. It's Chad Vance is saying hi. Good day, Mr. Chad of Ready Check. Hey, I gave Ready Check a shout out, I think on Saturday in my social. For those of you who don't know about Ready Check, if you don't go beyond the 160 kilometer radius, that is, you do not go beyond 160, and you would like to digitalize, try saying that real fast. Digitalize your vehicle inspections, which I would highly recommend doing. Get rid of all that paper. Make it easy for your drivers to do their vehicle inspections and record them. Check out ReadyCheck. And of course, Chad spells ReadyCheck. I think he, I don't know what happened. He got a spelling error in ReadyCheck. There is no C in the word check. So drop the C, go to readycheck.com and check out Chad's work. I think it's rather good. So we're here to talk about safety ratings. This is going to be kind of short, I hope. Whoops. And because we are going to talk about safety ratings. Yay, there we go. So CVOR safety ratings, there are several of them. And the first one that you might get, if you were so lucky, is an excellent rating. CVOR excellent is not easy to get because, first of all, your CVOR has got to be 24 months or older. Well, that's kind of easy. It's got to be valid. You have to have scored excellent on your audit, which means there's a couple of conditions to excellent. The first one, the main one, is that the overall audit score has to be above 80. And I forget what the other conditions are. You also have to have an OVR, an overall violation rate of 15% or less on your CVOR. And lastly, you have to have your collisions have to be 10% or less. So you've got to have all of these things. The biggest thing is you got to be audited, have to score excellent on the audit. Your collisions got to be 10% or less. That's your collision profile. So of course you remember that we've got collisions, convictions, and inspections are the three profiles that make up your OVR. Well, the collision one has to be 10% or less at the time of the audit, score excellent on the audit, and the overall violation rate has to be less than 15%. Boom! You've got excellent. Well, that's pretty darn hard to do. Then to keep your excellent rating, you can keep it for as long as you can manage to keep your overall violation rate at 20% or less. And that is difficult, not impossible, just difficult. And your collisions must remain no higher than 15% or less. So those are the conditions on which you get to keep your excellent rating, and you can keep it forever if you could keep these scores there, which, as I say, I stress that is difficult. That's not easy to do for a fleet. Certainly, maybe if you're a single owner operator, you could. The next one, so excellent is the highest score. The one just below that is a satisfactory score, and this means you pass the audit and your overall violation rate is 70% or less. So your OVR is 70% or less. That's not too bad. I think if you passed an audit, then you shouldn't have too much difficulty maintaining these, and you can be satisfactory again forever. Satisfactory unaudited, basically just the same thing as satisfactory, except for you haven't been audited. So your OVR is 70% or less. And that's about it. You can keep that forever until things change. Then if you get into conditional, well, there's conditional, you can get into conditional for two reasons. One is you failed an audit. And why do we get audited? Well, if you go above, let me say it this way. I understand that the overall violation rate, once it gets above 50%, you go onto a list of you can get audited now. It's my understanding that approximately 80% of all audits are because the OVR, the overall violation rate, is above that 50%. That's where they get the most of their audits. Well, of course, they can audit for any number of reasons, including police requests, DOT, the Americans could request an audit. You could have a wheel off or a significant incident, and then the deputy registrar could request an audit. So there's other reasons for audits, but the main audit driver is when you go over that 50% on your OVR. That's where about 80% of all the audits come from. the other reason you can go conditional is when your OVR, your overall violation rate, does get above 70. And if it gets above 70, you automatically go conditional. Well, that's not a good thing. And the last way you can go conditional is if somebody related to your company. So either another owner or another company that's related or affiliated, and that company goes conditional. Well, that forces your company to go conditional as well. So you want to make sure that anyone that's associated with your company, if they own another trucking company, you've got to keep tabs on that, because if they go conditional, it can force your company to also go conditional. And then lastly, the final way, this is kind of good news, is if you are upgraded. Well, upgraded from what? What the heck is worse than conditional? Great question. Worse, oh, sorry. So your failed audit, what is a failed audit? Just to remind you, a failed audit is when the overall audit results are less than 55%, or one of those profiles. Remember, for an audit, there is maintenance, hours of service, and driver files. That's not what the MTO calls it, but that's what I call them. The maintenance profile, the driver file, or the DQR and R, driver qualifications, records, and reporting profile, and the hours of service. Those three profiles, if one of them is below 50, well, now you failed the audit and you are gone conditional. If you go conditional, you're going to be there for 6 months at a minimum, because it's 6 months before you can ask for a re-audit, or it's 6 months before your conditional rating could be upgraded. If it was tripped because of the 70%, if that's what tripped your conditional, then you have to stay there for 6 months, and you have to get your overall violation rate to below 60%. And once you've been there for 6 months and your overall violation rate is below 60, then the ministry will upgrade you again to Satisfactory UnAudited, or Satisfactory Audited, depending on what your rating was before. So, and then what is worse than conditional if you were being upgraded? Well, that is unsatisfactory, and that is when your OVR gets above 100%. A number of different things happen at that point. You're going to be asked, you're going to be demanded to show up at St. Paul Street and St. Catharines for a facility show cause hearing. And that is to show cause why they shouldn't close you down. That's quite a serious thing. That is, I've talked about this before. I've been to several of them. There are usually 3 to 4 MTO representatives there, including Mr. Sean Doucette, who is as high up in the MTO as we can get. So Mr. Doucette is there, and at least 2 other representatives from the ministry. And this is quite a serious thing, because they will shut you down. If that's never happened to one of my clients, but it is certainly a possibility. What has other things that may happen, more likely to happen, at least at your first show cause, would be a temporary suspension of your license. So they could shut you down for a number of days or a month or something like that. They could reduce your fleet size, so that means you would have to hand in some of your plates if you're operating, for instance, a 25 truck company, and they feel you have the management in place to handle a 10 truck fleet. Then they could potentially say, hey, hand in 15 plates, we're reducing your fleet size until things get better. So there's a number of different things that they could do at a show cause hearing. And remember, when you get above 80%, there is usually, or sometimes you're asked for what's called an interview. It's not nearly, I was going to say it's not nearly as serious as a show cause. That's true, but it is still quite a serious meeting where they want to know what your game plan is so that you don't have to come to a show cause hearing. So just wanted to say that. Hey, last thing I wanted to mention is the CVOR podcast. Yes, we've got a new podcast starting. I've just posted the first episode. That may or may not be available yet on your favorite podcast player, because you have to post one episode before you can get your podcast listed. So I've just posted the introduction, and it takes up to 2 weeks for some of the podcast players to actually know that it's there. So it may be 2 weeks, but it's about to launch, or it has launched, depending on your podcast player. And what it is we are going to be talking. It's mostly audio. There will be videos, but I'm not planning to make it a video. I want it to be auditory, so that if you are trying to get or improve your CVOR, you're likely a truck driver or an owner of a company, and if you're still driving the truck, you need an audio. So that's the game plan. It's going to be audio. We're going to talk about things like today, where everything that relates to the CVOR, plus at the end of every episode, we're going to discuss one of the test questions for the CVOR test. If you are trying to write your CVOR or get your CVOR and you have to go write the test, at the end of each episode, we're going to do a CVOR test question. And last thing I'd like to say about the podcast is leave me a comment or send me an email, Chris@SafetyDawg, and Chris@SafetyDawg.com. And if I choose your suggestion for a topic, I will give you access to my driver file course, the Ontario driver file course, or the CVOR driver file course. I believe it's $50. I have a course on how to build your driver files. Well, guess what? If I use your suggestion for the CVOR podcast, I'd be very happy to give you access to that program at no charge, as a way of saying thank you. So with that, that is it for today. I got to get myself back to bed, kind of back to bed. I wish I was going back to bed. And Chad says, yes, I did. Sorry, I'm just checking my my chat again. If you have a comment to leave, do leave something in chat. And I'd love to give you a shout out. And other than that, that's it for this week. The Secrets of Safety Dawg hadn't been on for a couple of Mondays because I was busy one Monday and it was a long weekend the other Monday. So most Mondays at 1 o'clock, we do go live and we talk about CVOR. All right, thanks so much. Have a great week. The weather is going to be outstanding, as I understand it. That's it for this week. Safety Dawg's out.